Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, Tammy Lynn Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the podcast. Thank you for joining me here as we get all settled in for the May energy update. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different for this one. So let me get to all that good stuff in just a moment. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. You've come at just the right time to join us as we start another new month of May. I'm like, are we already at May? How can we already be at May? So settle in. If you want to see what we're all about here at TLC for the Soul. You're a returning listener. Welcome back to the podcast family. As always, you choose your listening experience. You can choose to just settle in and see what we're all about here at TLC for the Soul. You can choose to take your listening experience an octave higher. Join me around the sacred fire as we wrap you in love light and light love. Inviting in the spirit guides who are going to be joining us for this month of May. Quite a few surprises are in store for this month. Where you can take your listening experience an octave higher. Invite in your own spirit guides, totems, power animals, guardians, angels, whoever you work with, to join you. All paths are welcome. So before I get into anything about May, I just have a couple of it is kind of about May, but first off, I want to thank everyone who has made a donation to the podcast. It is greatly appreciated and is being used to stock up my inventory. So I've got card decks that I have that I'm moving in-house again in terms of the packaging and the shipping and all that. Because I like to put little special things in your package and all that good stuff. And it's just not as fun as when it comes from the printer in some shrink-wrapped, boring envelope. So I'd like to have some inventory on hand so that when you do order cards, it doesn't take so long. I'm lighting our candle right now. So if this podcast has helped you in any way, if you love the work that we're doing here, if you just want to be a part of the podcast family and give back in some way, then you can consider, not expected but greatly appreciated, making a love donation to the podcast. And my donation links are in the show notes. I have PayPal and Cash App. I'm lighting our candle this month. It's got twin flames. It's got two wicks. And it's lavender, jasmine, and chamomile. And the candle is a relax candle. It's in like a purple glass candle holder thing. And we're going to need that this month, friends. Okay, it's going to be a very, very interesting month. So I have decided to format this a little bit differently. We're still bringing in the spirit guides, some of the resources that if they resonate with you, you can also use along with us this month. We're going to read the Spirit Guides of Tessa Locke's story, which is our energy story for the month. So that helps you kind of get a sense of the energies of the month coming in. You may have seen, because everything I do is part of preparing for the show. So the thumbnail for the show was, I know it's heavy on tornadoes, okay? Um, and I'm gonna, let's see, where do I want to start? I want to start with how I got to where I'm at now with getting all these downloads, like what's coming up for May. So it started yesterday. After I did Sisters for the Sword, so I was kind of like, okay, I'm ready to receive some new information now. May is our next thing I need to record for the podcast. And I'm playing here with a beautiful mala. You hear beads in the background. I was sitting outside with my son, and I'm like, I really feel like watching Twister. It just feels, I could just feel it in the air. So it's May in the Northern Hemisphere. Beltane, we'll be recording our Beltane special celebration tomorrow for our Shaman Strum episode. We're still in Avalon. We will be hosting, Avalon will be hosting the Beltane celebration tomorrow. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. We're going to have a whole lot of sexy, fun guides coming in to play with us in the fire circle tomorrow and around the maypole. So I've been looking forward to doing this one for a while now. But I was sitting outside with my son yesterday, and I was like, I just feel like I want to watch Twister. Like I felt like for a while I've been rewatching like old stuff from like Christmas, like just on Netflix. Like I still didn't feel like it was really, even though it was spring, I still felt like I was being called back to Samhain. And even today, I pulled the Samhain card again. For those of you that have been listening for a while, I have my own like handmade deck that I just drew up myself, and I use it on the podcast. And so we're moving all the card draws to the pick a card. So we're not going to do cards for this, just to get that out of the way. I'm not going to be using cards because I feel like I want to bring in a couple of new kind of fun things too, and we'll save all the cards for the pick a card. And then I'll do that as a video on YouTube and an audio on the podcast if you just want to listen and choose the auditory experience. But back to the tornadoes. So I'm like, I feel like it's time. I finally felt in the air that feeling of like summertime. And I was like, I want to watch Twister because it feels like a summertime movie to me. And it was so funny because my son and I, we kind of like babble back and forth about all these shows we want to watch together. We have a bunch of favorites we like to watch together, and at the end of all the talking about all the shows, we ended up watching nothing. But it's just kind of fun just kind of talk about them. And I was like, I really want to watch it. I still wanted to watch it. And I was like, why are tornadoes just keep coming up? And I like watching. If you like to look at tornadoes and you want to watch a really cool YouTube channel, I love Pecos Hank. He's a storm chaser, and he's based here in Texas. I think he's in Houston. But they travel all over the place. Like I could be a storm. If I used to when I was younger, want to be a storm chaser. Like I love getting out in the weather. And it doesn't scare me to like run out in the middle of a thunderstorm or whatever. Not that I would be unsafe or anything like that. But Pecos Hank, I was like, I haven't seen a Pecos Hank video in a while. And then I looked, and I'm like, Pecos Hank uploaded some videos about tornadoes. So he likes to film tornadoes. And he has a lot of other cool stuff. And then last night, I was laying down, I was falling asleep, and then I heard, how your phone does it, but some of the cell phones in the house were like doing their little alerts, like if they're amber alerts or weather alerts or whatever, they make this almost horrific sound. Like I turn my phone off at night. I don't have my cell phone on at night, but everybody else's phones were like making all this noise. And my partner comes in and he's like, we're under a tornado warning. I was like, no way. And it was like tornado warning. So that means tornado has been sighted on the ground or whatever. And I could actually hear people outside like panicking, like running around and like jumping out of their cars and running into their house, because the tornado warning from the Weather Service is very much like, it's nighttime, you can't see a tornado coming, don't wait till you hear it, get in your house and take cover. And I was like, oh my word, okay, no, I don't feel like the tornado is here. Like I really felt into it. I'm like, I don't feel like it's going to be touching down anywhere. And then I just called in and asked for angelic protection and, asked the guides and the angels and all that to please to protect us. And everything was fine. And then so I just fell asleep, and my son was like, oh my gosh, Mom, you should have watched last night the weather was insane. And I was like, I know, but I just kind of ended up sleeping through it. I just felt like it was okay. I probably really would have wanted, if I'd known it was that crazy looking, I would have wanted to have gone and watched it out the window with him. And then this morning when I woke up again, I had like a really weird feeling. I was like, oh, May. Like I really kind of felt like May. And I watched Consciousness Evolution Journey, so Dee's Pick a Card channel is one of the very few that I follow. And she did a reading and she's like, new spirit guides are coming in to support you, spirit guides you haven't worked with before. And I was like, okay, who are you? I'm calling you in. And she kept pointing to this wolf on this card, and she kept pointing to the wolf and saying new spirit guides, and her finger would like tap the card. And I was like, that wolf, I've been seeing this wolf now for the past 2 or 3 days. I started listening to a new audiobook series about wolves and, what do I want to say? Wolfmen or whatever that's called. And I woke up this morning and I just had this like alone, like this weird feeling. I just didn't like it. I was like, oh, I don't like this feeling. It feels very alone. It feels very like I could really go deep down in the depths if I wanted to. And I was like, I don't want to be here. And I was like, this wolf keeps coming through. So I want to see what this wolf is all about. And this new guide stepped in, quote unquote, the lone wolf stepped in. So we're going to read a story. We're going to continue our Spirit Guides of Tessa Locke story. We've been reading off of that ever since January, when a new Spirit Guides comes in to support us each month. And this lone wolf came in. And so I want to read that. I'm going to share with you just my thoughts on the month of May, because I think there's a lot of duality in the month of May, and it's going to be very fast-moving energy, just like these tornadoes. And what I saw was the strength card from is it the Everyday Witch Tarot, where it's a witch and she's got a lion next to her. We'll post the card on Instagram or something like that if you can't, or you can Google it, see what it looks like. But it's the witch with her wand out, and she's got a beautiful lion next to her, and behind her is this big old tornado, and she's kind of like in her strength because she's kind of like keeping these tornadoes at bay. And the tornado and the high wind, so tornado is like wind energy, right? So very sweeping, fast-moving winds of change coming in for May. And it's no surprise to me that Pluto just went retrograde, which is the planet of transformation and deep work, deep inner work. Yay, some more deep inner work. And Mercury retrograde, going retro. We're entering pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. If it's not now, then I don't have my calendar in front of me, but it'll be very, very soon here. And we'll be into Mercury retrograde. And then at the end of the month, we have our first eclipse. I'm like, already? Okay. So let's read. This is chapter 5 of Spirit Guides of Tessa Locke. And if you want to read it, I'll post it in my stories on my website. And I can post it over on Instagram too. But we've been following for the past 4 chapters Jenna, who kind of met the Miss Vamp and went to the Glastonbury tour and ended up in Avalon with Merlin. And then we were following Rutger, who was working at the Drunken Spoon Tavern and came out and was also surrounded by the Mist Vamp and taken to the tour, and ended up going on this dreamy journey to meet Uther Pendragon. And Uther Pendragon was going to take Rutger to his castle to Rutger's like, there's somebody there I have to meet. I feel like there's this person I have to meet at this castle. And the king was going home to his queen. And we kind of left Rutger there. We didn't know what was going to be happening next. We just knew that Rutger felt like he needed to get to this castle at all costs. And then we didn't hear from, like last month, we didn't hear from the Spirit Guides of Tessa Locke, and all of a sudden now they're coming back. So chapter 5 is Lone Wolf. This is a channeled, channeled story, as all of mine are. So there's going to be a lot of metaphors in here, meanings. I'll try to point out what I can, but there's some that could be specific just to you. So if your guides are here, or you're calling your own higher self, to ask you what this might mean for you personally, because everybody's spiritual journey and little stories and all that are different, and we just couldn't possibly touch on them all. Lone Wolf. So Rutger, startled, awakened by a fallen branch that had pulled him out of his slumber beneath the giant oak. The lion shifter having left him here for what seemed like an eternity, but couldn't have been very long now. There were no timepieces in a dream, and so Rutger brushed the deep sleep from his eyes and stood looking around him. Where were the horses, he wondered, as the sweet smell of the forest took over. He felt eyes watching him, and he turned to see a small silhouette against the morning sky. The shadow figure moved forward closer now, and Rutger could see the eyes first. Deep, dark gray eyes inside deep, dark gray fur. The lone wolf was watching him intently now. It seemed to speak to him in his mind. It told him not to be afraid, that he would get back on the castle path soon enough, and that the proprietors of the Drunken Spoon Tavern wouldn't miss him very much right now. The tavern was closed due to a long, lingering storm that had blown in across the bay. Rutger looked at the wolf more closely now and determined that there was no harm coming his way. The wolf wanted him to follow to the ocean. But what and why would he need to go there? He felt safe in these woods. Safer now when he was without any distractions. Safe away from the castle, the king, and the beckoning of his beloved. The wolf led the way. It wanted Rutger to know something. It wanted him to understand something. But as all mortal humans, this one would have to be shown too. The lone wolf sighed and kept walking, leading Rutger, although Rutger felt to himself that he was the one leading the way. Again the wolf sighed. Beloved human, beloved soul in physical form, you are being led through the darkness. You don't have to do anything. Surrender now. The wolf continued to walk, and turned to ensure Rutger was still behind him. Rutger felt compelled to follow, as he always did when he was stuck in his dream state. Was this forest and the wolf and king and castle the dream? Or was his somewhat mundane 3D world at the Drunken Spoon Tavern beneath the light of the Tor his reality? Reality lines blurred, and Rutger just decided to trust that he was being shown. No need to read anything into it at the moment. He could decide later if he was certifiable. He judged not others in this state, so why would he need to judge himself? He always had trusted in the magic before, although he admitted that of late he had fallen out of the magical ways of his people. The darkness, the lost hopes of others around him had seeped into his way. He had to remember to shield himself from them. He had almost forgotten the old ways, the ways his grandmother had taught him to not be so sensitive around others. The wolf stopped at the shores of the river bank in the forest. This river would lead them to the ocean shore. The wolf had traveled this many times with many others. The story always the same. This soul or that one needed to make a solitary journey of the heart. They needed to see the deeper meaning of things before they could move forward again. The lone wolf sighed a deep, knowing sigh. He loved this work, even if he seemed reticent on the outside. He had dedicated himself to serve the higher cause. He was here to help. So much here. I don't think I even have time to go into all of it in this episode. Well, the lone wolf itself is a metaphor, right? Like you're kind of going it alone for a little while. You're on a solitary journey, but you may feel alone, but you're not alone because all of your guides and angels and power animals and deities and all that good stuff and, passed on loved ones and all that are here to support you on this, they're saying dark night. So I'm like, okay, let's just go with it. But there is a good thing about this. So I want to stay tuned because this is not the only part of the energy update. So I've got, we're going to do a power song for everybody. This is going to be our power song of the month. I'm going to bring on our totems for the month, and then I'm going to read channeled messages from the archangels for your personal journey, as well as a lover's message from a couple of our love archangels. So stay tuned. Don't run away. Don't think that this is all there is. Because when I first read this, I was like, is that all that May is going to be about? Because I just don't know if I can make it through another month like this. And what I was shown is it's a very fast moving energy. And these tornadoes of change are going to come in, but they're coming in to help you. And part of what may feel like darkness around you is not really your darkness at all. It's the collective darkness kind of going through the same experience, but the collective doesn't necessarily know how to deal with their energy like me and you and others, listening do. So while it's a call for protection, it's call for protection like you're not under attack or from anything or anyone. Like you may feel like, whoa, 1 minute I feel really good, and then the next minute I just feel like this despair and this darkness. What's happening to me? And it's like, no, it's not. Okay, so we need to be a little bit better about shielding our energy in the month of May. And I'm really excited because I'm going to be attending an event with one of my mentors, Master Co. You guys have heard me a while talk about Master Co. He's just my spiritual teacher of the moment right now because he's kind of like he's like a little tough love teacher for me. I really need that kind of like kick in the pants sometimes. Like I don't need a soft teacher right now. I need a teacher who's like here to teach and help me get things done. And we're doing you can join this too. You can go to his website and sign up. This is going to be this Friday night. So that's tomorrow night. He's going to be teaching a free hour long. It's an intro because there's a online course that he's got, which I want to attend, but we'll see. But it's pranic psychic self-defense class. So I'm really excited for this one because his grandmaster was a very powerful energy worker, but in such a way like I've never learned about energy in the way that I have from like these pranic healing teachings about how they're teaching about energy. It's like they're teaching the science of spirituality, which is what I'm really like techie stuff, and I want to know the technical side of like, why does all this spiritual stuff that I'm doing work? Why does the energy healing work? What is it that's happening when we're doing a healing session? What is happening with the energy and all that? Like that totally like turns on my brain, like turns it on. So if you're interested in that, you can still sign up. That's a free one. I don't know if it's an hour or two he's going to do. And then there'll be the longer course. But let me tell you, they jam pack a lot of really good information, even into the little free online webinars. So we will be bringing whatever we learn from that into our practice as well. So with that being said, if you feel like in the month of May, because there's so much weird stuff going on, we're going to bring in resources through the podcast to help you through Sisters for the Sword. I think the Divine Masculine is going to need feel like they're going to need a lot of support this month. So we have Divine Masculine SOS, and we're going to be teaching the Divine Masculine. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet, but it's going to be something to definitely help you get through what's going on right now in the month of May for the masculine. We've got fun stuff coming up, all sorts of stuff because I want it to be fun and I want it to be, stuff you can learn from as well. While we're all kind of doing it in, like doesn't have to be so serious kind of platform. So if you do feel like you need a little bit more personalized help on your journey this month, I do have services that I offer, and I do have a special for the month of May. It's normally a 30-minute galactic healing and distance acupuncture session. It covers all of your physical, mental, emotional, etheric bodies, completely like a complete refresh and reboot for you. But that's a 30-minute session. I think it's $122, and I'm not discounting the price, but what I'm doing is adding 15 minutes onto the session. So for the same price, you're going to get 45 minutes, and I will be doing a one-question reading and pulling in your guides and answering whatever you need to have answered that could also help you really get back on track if you feel like these tornadoes this month are going to derail you. So if you're interested in that, all of that, you can just email the show, which emails me, and I'll give you more information, or you can ask to schedule a session. You have to contact me first. You just can't schedule yourself. But there's a contact form on my website, and all of that link is in my show notes as well, because we're here to support you as best we can. That's a really good deal. So you might want to take advantage of that. Before I go into our power song and our channeled readings from the archangels, some of the totems that are coming through this month to help us, they're all very yellow and gold. So when I was asking, oh, got big chills. When I was asking what was the element that wanted to support us this month, it was wind, but it was also fire. But it wasn't the fire of like a flame of fire. It's like a spiritual fire, and it's more like a radiance. So I feel like after we go through these tornadoes where we feel a little bit like thrown out of our comfort zone, we are going to up level and come into more of our spiritual radiance. It feels like spiritual power coming down, like solar logos and Christ consciousness type of fire, more so than it does. So it feels like a very cleansing spiritual fire and an uplifting and energizing and enlightening spiritual fire than it does a physical flame. The energy supporting us this month, I like these. I was using them. Some of them I'm out of and I need to refill, but it's all yellow and gold colors. So this is a diffuser oil from Kate's Magic, called Courageous Spirit. It's got gold and little, she's very like Egyptian based kind of stuff, but stimulating, empowering, and clarifying. But I really like her oils. I can't even read. It's ginger, Litsea cubeba, rosemary, and sage. I really like this one. Hawthorn is coming out, the tree hawthorn. Of course, every May hawthorn comes up for me. That's our fairy tree, our magical tree. So the month of May, let's bring in some magic and fun too. I know I'm definitely going to need that to balance out whatever else is going on. But so I'm not suggesting you have to take any of these. You can work with hawthorn, just the spirit of hawthorn, the tree. You can put a picture of a hawthorn on your altar space or as a wallpaper on your phone or whatever, like a hawthorn tree and flower. I personally am working with hawthorn blend, so the actual tincture, it's a system restorator and it's cardio and circulatory. So this is going to help you work with your heart space. Definitely masculines. I'm telling you, there's a big, big awakening coming for you in the heart this month. You're going to be moving out of your analytical mind. Not that you're not going to think about stuff anymore, but you're overthinking stuff too much right now. And you're going to be shown how to balance out your mind with your heart. So hawthorn blend, definitely working with the tree hawthorn can help with that. Divine Feminine, our hearts are already open, but I think our hearts are going to open even more now. Some of us have some deep-rooted healing that you feel like you've done healing, and here comes some more healing that needs to be done. So we're also going to be working in the heart space, but I think it's going to be a little bit different. They're saying more around forgiveness. So we will go into that in a different episode, maybe in Sisters for the Sword. The other blend I really like is from Eden's Garden. It's also an oil, essential oil called Sunshine Spice. So that's just what's coming forward for me. That's just what I kind of have in my little inventory. The other thing that showed up was the fire dragons. So I have a little stone that looks like a fire dragon. I work with all different types of dragons, and fire dragon definitely came forward this month. So we shall see. So I'm going to do right now our power song. So let's hold on here. Okay, so for a long time now, I've been wanting to do more singing. I feel like I was really getting into it, and then I had that weird incident where I've talked about it in another podcast. I don't really want to go into it now, but I had a weird kind of, it for me felt kind of traumatic and strange, and I stopped singing, and I'm like, I really want to sing again. I've talked about this on the podcast before. I don't know how to play very many musical instruments. Well, I don't know how to play any musical instruments, but I have my drums and I have some other little things, and so. And you guys know we sing sometimes when we do the light language and all that. So I'm just bringing in power songs for us now, and so that I can get out there and start getting myself just more confident. It's not that I'm not confident. It's like I just don't know what to do with it because I feel like someone's supposed to be playing music alongside me, but that someone's not here right now. So it's just like, okay, I'm just trying to make the best of it on my own at the moment with what I've got. Okay. So if you're familiar with shamanism at all, or just different, I don't know how I want to say it, but you know, a lot of our ancestors use song, and I work very strongly with the Navajo wind talkers, a lot of the Native American kind of etheric tribes. I have my own ancestral bloodline with the Tuatha there's just a lot of song there, and I really feel like I'm opening up to more of that. So I've got the little drum today. I've got the Thunderbird drum. This is a little Remo. He's very small. I use him more for the upper chakras. And we're just going to see what comes out in this power song. So this is for you too, and I am recording it separately. So I'm going to put it up somewhere as like a separate little download or whatever if it's something you just want to do. So hopefully I'm not going to take too long. I just kind of want to get into it here and see what's going to come through for May. All right. Thank you for sitting with me through that. Oh my God, my little mall is all in a tumble. So to finish out, I want to read the channeled messages from the archangels. Could have done that song much longer, but I'm like, I don't think you want to sit and listen to me sing for that long. I want to do like cool stuff, like, I don't know, never mind. Not never mind, but I just have a vision for all of that. Okay, monthly channeled. Twister is our movie of the month, so if you want to have some fun with tornadoes, then take a look at Twister. That's I don't know when it came out. It was in the 90s. Helen Hunt and what was his name? Oh, come on. Bill Paxton. So, okay, before I go into the channel messages really quick, so Twister. So there are messages there for you in that movie, all right? It's about fast-moving weather. It's about relationships because they are a couple who kind of drifted apart from each other and actually filed for divorce. And for some reason, they can't seem to sign the divorce papers. And they just keep going back. Like you can tell they're supposed to be together, but like they don't realize they're supposed to be together. Like they're each kind of growing through their own thing. They're going through their own lone wolf moments. Like he feels like he has to be on his own. He even has like a karmic partner. Like he's engaged to her and he's supposed to marry her. And then Helen Hunt's all like, I'm supposed to be on my own, doing my own thing. I don't need to be with you. But she can't seem to sign the divorce papers that he served her with so that he can get married. And, then they go on this romp with all these tornadoes, and they realize in the end that they really were supposed to be together all along. So many messages and metaphors in that movie. All right. So first, I'm going to read a channeling from Archangel Michael and Archangel Nathaniel. This is for everybody, just a general overall collective message for our podcast family here. And then I've got a message for lovers from Archangel Chamuel and Archangel Haniel. And then we will wrap up this podcast episode for May. Archangel Michael and Archangel Nathaniel, this is what was channeled. I'm just going to read it exactly as they gave it to me. Dear soul, now is not the time to falter. So they're talking about what's going on this month. Now is the time to shine. You may be feeling one of two ways right now. And this is what I'm talking about, the duality of, and I'm going to jump in a little bit with my take on this, but this is what I feel like is the duality of energies coming up for the month of May. And somewhere here in May, we switch from Taurus season to Gemini season. The twins, which is yay, which is me, my sun sign. So I am a Gemini sun. My birthday is coming up soon on June the 3rd. So we'll be doing all sorts of birthday week celebrations on the podcast. I'm really excited. So if anybody's wondering, I'm a Gemini sun, Aries moon, and Pisces rising. Woohoo! So anyway, back to that. So there a lot of duality stuff is coming up for this month, and I feel like it's because we're getting so close to Gemini season. So you may be feeling one of two ways right now, either road worn and weary, yeah, that's how I felt this morning, or extremely energized and ready to take on the world. Or these dualities may play themselves out for you throughout this time, vacillating back and forth in your conscious awareness. You are not alone, and there is always a bigger picture. So if you are feeling road-worn and weary, trust that you do not walk alone. We are here helping pave the way forward. If you are feeling energized, use this to your creative advantage, for the tides will soon turn in your favor. It may seem like a plateau at this time, but if you can keep going, then there is a bright outcome awaiting you on the other side. Special divine assistance is happening right now to get you where you need to be. Trust it, even when it feels like you may be going backwards. It is an illusion. And just my own personal, outside of the channeling, I typed retrogrades. Like the retrogrades this month may make us feel like we've gone backwards in some of the footing that we've accomplished. And so they're saying that that is an illusion. When the energy ends and the shifts have occurred, then you will be left standing victorious. And Archangel Michael coming in, of course, our angel of protection. So if you feel like you need any extra insulation from what's going on with the energies this month, then ask Archangel Michael to come in and help you shield yourself. And Archangel Nathaniel coming in to help bulldoze out and help clear the path for us moving forward. So last on our list is our message for lovers. So the Archangel of Love, Archangel Chamuel, and Archangel Haniel coming in. And Archangel Haniel always comes in for me when I need to trust my intuition more. She just stands in support and as a space holder for me, as a reminder. Like when I see her, I know she's there like, okay, remember, trust the guidance that you're getting, trust your intuition, trust the messages that you're receiving. So their channeling was for lovers. Dear friends, this time is especially pivotal in your connection. You may feel right now as if you are going it alone. There is extra support coming in to help you at this time. We see the bigger picture and know this, dear friend, you will be victorious. You are being guided through an especially advantageous and fortuitous time in your own personal journey. Your love is experiencing something similar, and it is the time to walk the path alone for a while. This is only an illusion, as you both are never really apart. You are joined energetically and are being divinely supported. All is well, and your union is stronger than ever before, even when you feel that you are alone. There is great wisdom and spiritual growth available to you now if you choose to take advantage of it. If you want to help your counterpart, you must heal yourself, as you are a reflection of the other. Great strides are available for the taking, and on the other side of this transformation, a great gift awaits. All right, so as with any other month, it's going to be jam-packed with stuff going on. We're going to bring in resources to support you on your journey, and we will, I think, expand on these messages more in upcoming episodes. And tomorrow is going to be our Beltane celebration, and then early next week we'll have our pick a card. On Sunday, our May new energy ASMR energy story is going to be Pinky Von Pinkerton. She is a bringer of the light from a new, well, it's not a new town, but I'll explain more about that later. But she's the Bringers of the Light Oakwood series, and that's all I know that's coming up so far. So I look forward to chatting with you again as we enter into May, and we will see you all again soon in the next episode. Take care.
This episode has been brought to you by the Thunder Rose Ranch and Forest, a sacred place where the beings of light surrounding its etheric location are here to teach love to all humanity. We want to thank you so much for joining us. Take care.